Mona Dajani, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Peter. Thank you so much for letting me be on your amazing podcast. I'm really excited.
It's
It'll be
great
fun.
to have you. We're really happy to have you. You are the global head of energy infrastructure, hydrogen, and mobility, which is incredible. And I know it's even more than that. You're an expert in so many areas of energy. You're with a Wall Street firm, Sherman and Sterling, which is a 150-year-old firm. And we were so happy to have you on and really honored because of the fact that you've been in a lot of the big media, both print and television, which is incredible. And this one is my favorite because I have been a startup founder. You've made startup principals into billionaires, which is incredible. We'll talk a little about that. But for now, I just really would love to know what's it like out there these days in the world of energy?
Well, thank you, Peter. Again, I'm really happy to talk with you today. This is really exciting. I really specialize in the energy transition. So those technologies that are relatively new, or at least new to mainstream. So that means like wind and solar and hydrogen and digital mobility and EVs and ammonia, waste to energy, all these types of newer technologies. And it's really exciting. It's a very exciting time because we had, the current administration pass the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, and it's really a game changer and attracting a lot of players, institutional and foreign institutional players too, coming to the United States to invest or to transform their whatever their business was, whether it was in Europe or Asia or Middle East or Latam, here in the US because of all the incentives that are available, as long as you follow certain guidelines and rules, of course. But so it's very exciting. When I first started doing this many years ago, I did it because I wanted to make a difference in the world and I wanted to combine my legal knowledge and my commercial expertise and strategy with really making a difference in the world. And, when I first started doing this a long time ago, it was really fringe. People are like, solar, wind, what's that? I was doing it before there were tax credits available, before we monetized those. And today I'm very proud, that our government is really trying to push to make the United States a leader in the energy transition space and also to enhance our energy security too as well. And just, take advantage of all the innovation that we have here. But one thing that's important is that we're welcoming of foreign companies and foreign investors to come here and to invest, whether it's a business or it is a technology or it's a patent or it is, something that we are all collaborating together. This really is it's a global movement. So just really happy and excited to see all this. So very exciting.
And no, it is so exciting. And I come from the startup world. And now as an investment banker, it's incredible to see so many companies. And I think that's one of the amazing things that attorneys and investment bankers can bring to startup founders that I didn't really appreciate when I was a startup founder, which is that as an attorney or as an investment banker, you see so many deals. You see so much deal flow, so much activity. So you have this broad-based perspective that I think brings a ton of value to a startup founder. And it really comes down to experience. And at the end, we can help startup founders do things faster it's just impossible to do when you're inside of one company. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on the role that a great attorney can play in turning a startup founder into a billionaire, as you have done in the past. Of course, we have to say it doesn't happen every time. We'll give all the disclaimers, but good advice is invaluable, I think, to startup founders.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important that startup, entrepreneurs, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get where you are. You have to wear many different hats. And the one thing, like one mistake I see a lot with startups is they have a startup mentality, which is they do wear as many hats as possible and they work very hard. That's something that's common. But what distinguishes those startups that really go on and become very successful, they either go exponential or they hyper scale, are those that realize, and this is also not just with entrepreneurs, this is in life in general. It's you have to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, as an entrepreneur. And as, the attorney's role, a really good attorney's role is not just to execute on your vision, but to guide, to say if the vision needs to be changed or tweaked, or you can't do something, or you can do something, but also to assist with and help you formulate the strategy. And going forward, also, this attorney has all these value adds too, which is they will make introductions to counterparties. Like you said, Peter, I mean, there's so many deals that I've seen and that I've worked on. And, there's some, common threads with the successful ones versus the not successful ones. And, the successful, entrepreneurs, they surround themselves with smart people. They have attorneys that are more than just executioners. They actually are helping with actually structuring the deal, making introductions, helping with the strategy. And most important, they have the knowledge in that particular niche, okay, from a global basis and how to avoid mistakes and how to if there is a mistake or there is something that's not so good, some fact, try to mitigate it, try to protect you as much as possible, but still being very commercial. And what it really boils down to is whether you are willing to pay for certainty and preciseness and almost like an insurance that you're gonna do fine, you're not gonna have issues, versus I'm not gonna pay, I'm just going to get the cheapest person to help me. They may not be the most qualified. They say they are, some may say they are, but they just don't know what they don't know. And then when you go to negotiate your deal and you're up against someone like me, and I could tell right away, you're not going to get the best representation all the time and you're not going to do the best. So, I've had the privilege of working with a number of entrepreneurs that were startups, and they understood the value of a good, advisor, trusted advisor, legal advisor. And, what I did was I helped them with their strategy. I made introductions. I took them public, some. And, and a lot of it was because I really understood the market and what they were operating in. And I really understood as well some of the pitfalls they were going to face and how to mitigate. And it's also, it's not easy. It's hard. It takes a lot of work. And all the successful entrepreneurs work 24/7. And I respect that, but you need to, the expression, work smarter. And one of the ways to work smarter is to have someone on your side with a lot of experience in the space that can help you navigate all the many obstacles you're going to confront as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And what I've seen, this really fits with me now being an advisor, is like when you're an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, you want to do everything super fast. So you're looking at the
Yeah.
legal terms, you're like, oh, this is not that big of a deal. How can we go faster? But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, if you want to go fast, you go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you have to go with a team. And that's really the
Right.
secret. Because when you say hire people smarter than you, there's definitely people smarter than you in each area.
That's
And
exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
it's for
Can't
sure.
do it all. Right.
uh,
Can't do it all. And it's very difficult once you sign up documents, legal documents. even if you have something, well, oh, it's a non-binding letter of intent, heads of terms or something. Sometimes in that LOI, there's buried language that says, yeah, everything else is not binding, but this clause is. And it's very difficult to unwind. It's very difficult. We have an expression in law, which is like unring the bell. It's very difficult to do that. And you should take it seriously because, this is what, especially in the United States, because we are very litigious and, your counterparty sometimes will use it to their advantage, that they have a strong, especially if they're institutional or bigger, that they have a strong position, because you just signed something that gave them this power that you got along with them when you signed it, but then there was some difficulty later on. And then we go back to what did you sign? So it is really important to understand what you're signing and take it seriously. And even if it's a non binding LOI.
No doubt. Yeah, I know we always, when entrepreneurs ask us, how long is the deal going to take? We usually say 6 months. And they're like, that is so long. How can it be? And of course, that would actually be a quick one. But the legal process itself, if it's especially if the first round of capital is going to be a couple of months, no doubt about it. And those couple of months are certainly worth it to get your operating agreement, to get your stock purchase or unit purchase agreement right. So that
Yeah.
we don't have problems down the road, and the institutional investors are going to require it anyway. So it's definitely worth taking that time to get it right the first time because it takes a heck of a lot longer if you have to unring the bell, as you say.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is, and many times I work with people like you together, hand in glove, to as one of the people that look out for the client and try to, navigate all those obstacles. At the end of the day, you can't afford to make mistakes. And, mistakes cost time, which costs money. Sometimes they cost people, so we really want to minimize those mistakes as much as possible. And then if we, at the end of the day, what's important here is you want to scale, you want to be able to rinse and repeat, you want to go exponential. And you can certainly do that as long as have you're not wearing all the hats. You have great people that are experts in their field that are assisting you as the entrepreneur to try to get ahead.
Yeah, that's a great insight, Mona. And I'll tell you, I could talk to you for hours. Got about 9 minutes left or so. What I did want to do was a case study. So if
Okay.
there's any case, we're trying to look a lot at batteries, we're looking at digital infra, and of course, we're looking at hydrogen very closely. Would love to get your thoughts on maybe a case study or a market that you're heavily focused on these days.
Well, it's interesting. I'm focused on all those markets. I'm doing EV, batteries, hydrogen, storage, waste to energy, offshore, everything. So I think what is really important, I'll take hydrogen for example. What's very important with hydrogen, because we're doing a lot of cutting edge hydrogen projects, which take very capital intensive and they take many different counterparties to come together to do a deal. And I guess it's a case study, and I can't reveal names, but what did happen on one of my deals, which became very successful, we're trying to replicate it, is that we put together a developer with a institutional player that was like a provider in the hydrogen space. And this provider is going to also not only finance their own work that they were doing in the project, but in return for exclusivity to always do this work for this particular developer, around the world. They also did some equity injection into the SPE at the project level. And then they financed not only did they inject, but they also financed their own work that they were doing to make it as easy as possible and to really have skin in the game for this developer.
Yeah,
And
that's so important, as you say, skin in the game and aligned interests. We hear it
be
so much
aligned.
from institutional investors.
Right. To be aligned. And that's also with your counsel too, your attorney, and your investment banker. I mean, they should be aligned. They should have skin in the game too, as well. And so this particular project took off. And then this is the other value add that I did. I introduced the SPE, which consisted of this, to the developer and this big other player that was going to be providing a major piece, introduced them to two other material counterparties. And they should have been competitors. But instead of being competitors, they said, it's better that we all work together, we collaborate, and we'll agree on what the output is for each of us. And then we will be able to, all of us will benefit. And then the developer was able to get all the capital they needed at a very early stage. So it is like this type of case study where you have more counterparties coming in and kind of sharing some of the capital, but also having upside and also downside if that happens, is really, that was the key to success. And this was a combination deal. So it was several different technologies altogether in our space. But that's just one, but it's about, changing the paradigm and really thinking outside the box, being creative, and that counterparties that were once your competitors could really be your colleagues now together. And it would be, this international collaboration. These were all different companies coming from different parts of the world that all came together. So it was great. So that's just one kind of case study that I like to, share with your listeners, that it's important to think outside the box, be creative, and be open to having, other counterparties coming in as partners.
That's really good, Mona. That's an incredible case study. And I tell everyone, you've got to collaborate in this market, especially when it comes
Uh,
to things like hydrogen, because
um,
it's more complicated than solar. And I love
absolutely.
solar. One of the reasons I think institutions love it so much is because it's more of a rinse and repeat. And when you get into hydrogen, there's so many other facets. We're trying
Right.
to develop a new market for molecules for a zero emissions fuel, which is why we're all doing this to try and get
Thanks.
to that net zero. And so collaboration is essential. But, Mona, I really appreciate you giving us your time here on the podcast. It's been great having you. And we're going to definitely have you back because we could talk for a long time. And I know your
Yeah.
time is very valuable, but thank you for being on today.
Thank you so much, Peter. I love talking with you like this. This is great. It's fun. And I hope that your listeners were able to glean something, but very happy to be on again. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. And so before we go, I just want to say one thing. Everybody needs to make sure they follow Mona. It's Mona Dajani, Dajani, it's at LinkedIn. So make sure you type in Mona Dajani. Go check out her LinkedIn post. The insights that she gives on there are incredible. She writes these posts herself. Go on there, like, comment, share, and make sure you follow her on LinkedIn. Mona, thanks so much for being on.
Thank you so much, Peter. Love to come back. Thank you. Had a great time.